Hey guys, welcome back to New World Carpentry Solutions. In this video, I get to show you guys one of the coolest tricks that I picked up. This is one that I learned over at Insider Carpentry. Spencer Lewis showed me how, and this is how to make your own stave shims. These stave shims are essentially just a tapered wedge or a long shim that has it running the long grain. So what this is really good for is filling any types of gaps. So like it works for stair treads, it works on this door itself. Anytime you have hardwood where you don't want to use like a wood filler or something to actually fill in the gap, this is actually the perfect solution. So essentially the only thing you have to do is actually rip a slight bevel over on your table saw and then bevel your saw back over to 0 to do a straight cut. And after you make yourself a couple shims, in this case you see like this gap right here where my styling rails meet, I want to be able to fill that, but again, wood filler would just stand out like a sore thumb. So the best way to actually take care of this is to use a stave shim. There's also a few gaps along my actual mutton bars that I do want to fill in. You can see here just like with it kind of laid in place how it kind of actually disappears. So once it's actually sanded smooth, that seam is completely invisible to the naked eye. So what I'm going to do now is actually take blue tape and kind of line the back side of my door. It'll be easier for me to sand off glue on the front side, but I'm also not applying glue to the front. So first thing I need to do is get all the shims cut to the proper length and then get them dialed in to fit properly inside of all my gaps. Again, they're not going to be perfect off the table saw. I didn't use a jig to make them all repeatable. So I'm just, beveling it over at like 5 degrees, then doing the straight cut and kind of repeating that process. So if it's a little too snug, take your chisel, block plane, whatever tool of your choice, and kind of just shave and taper the edge to where you can actually get it to slide down into your gap. You want it to be able to slide in there to where it's actually sitting fairly firm, because we are going to apply glue to the back side of the shim, the side that butts up against the tape, and then hammer it home. So you want to make sure that it can actually drive down into your slot just a little bit, so that way it actually can be glued in place. But after doing a bunch of shaving and doing a lot of test fitting, once I have them all dialed in, the next thing I'm going to do is actually get the glue applied to the back side and start tapping them in. I believe this is about the last time I had to do a test fit. I might have had to shave just a little bit more off, but then I'm going to reposition the camera and get ready to start doing all the glue up. One thing that's really crucial though, I will recommend using tape in this case, just because in this type of scenario, pretty much along the mutton bars, it will be a really difficult place to have to come back in, sand, and remove any excess glue squeeze out. So a little bit of preparation definitely goes a long way in this case. But now that I have the shims dialed in, you guys get to see me actually, that close up of that taper was really nice. But now you get to see again the gaps that I'm trying to fill, and you guys get to see how I go about that process. The first thing you do though, you take all your various shims that you actually cut to the proper length, and then you want to go ahead and apply glue to the back side of it. Smear it out. You want to make sure again that bottom edge or the leading edge is actually going down into the groove. Definitely has a nice bit of glue. And again, you want to be able to tap it in deep enough to where your glue bond is actually going to hold, because later we're going to come back with a razor blade and a chisel to kind of chip off the excess, and then we're going to go into actually sanding and smoothing everything out. And right here you can see how with this little gap, I don't really need to use any blue tape because it's a nice flat surface that I can actually sand, and it won't be any issues to get that nice and smooth. But again, along the mutton bars, any type of inside corners, if you can prevent a bunch of glue squeeze out, definitely do it. And then after letting the glue dry for about an hour or so, I can come back with a sharp razor blade. I want to make sure that again that my blade is spread. It'd be nice if I had a marking knife, but in this case I don't. But you want to take a nice sharp razor blade and follow just along the edge of your mutton bars, taking your time. You don't want to gouge your mutton bars, and also you can come back with a chisel, so you don't want to end up going too far. But afterwards, you're going to take the chisel and kind of just pare away at the excess material. And then when I get back and actually sand everything down, the gaps disappear. I do have a few more gaps to fill, but again, this process is phenomenal. And again, it works for stairs or any type of hardwood application where you need a really tight seam, and caulk and putty just is an option. So now I'm just going to go through the paring process to clean up all the excess, and then I'm going to give you guys a nice close-up to kind of show you guys what it came out like. I hope you guys definitely enjoyed this process. Hopefully I taught you guys something. I go this tip all to Spencer Lewis. Yeah, right here actually. You can see where the shim is in place. Still has a little bit of sanding left. You can see where the gap was and how it kind of disappears as it tapers into my actual shim. And you can see again, gap where the shim is. So all I have to do is apply some more shims in the rest of the gaps, then sand all this flush, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when everything's all done in the future. But If you guys have enjoyed, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.